So let's talk about patterns here. So the language of patterns. So navigating the maze of design with Jennifer Tidwell, designing interfaces. So what is a design pattern? So a design pattern is a repeatable, proven solution to a common problem within a specific context. So a good example of a pattern is navigation. Okay. How many different types of navigation do we encounter every day? All kinds. But for some reason, we know how to interact with these navigations. Why do you think we know how to interact with them? Why do you think when we see a navigation, it's like natural for us to like, oh, okay, here's a search bar, here are the links. um, there's a back button, right? Why do you think there's drop down menus, things like that? Why do you think it's so easy for us? We don't even think when we interact with navigation.
We've been exposed to them for a
Yeah,
while.
you've been exposed to them. You get familiar with them. You know how they work. You know how they look. You know where to find them, right? It's usually on the top or on the side. What if navigation was on the bottom? Where do you experience navigations on the bottom?
Handheld devices.
Yeah, handhelds, your phones, right? So those are navigation is just a small example of a design pattern. It's repeatable, it's been proven, it's been tested. We use navigations to fix like as design solutions for all kinds of stuff. Now there's all kinds of navigations. But we're familiar with them already, and we know how to design them in a way where everybody's familiar with them. We have this like mental model. Oh, that's navigation. This is where I'm going to find all the links, all my bookmarks, things like that. So that's the definition for a design pattern. So why do patterns matter for UX success? Well, several things. One, it reduces cognitive load. So fancy term for stress. Basically, um, we want to use patterns that people are familiar with. So it takes a back seat to what they're actually trying to do, right? It takes a back seat to like what goal they're trying to accomplish, what are they trying to do, what task they're trying to accomplish. So we use these proven patterns that users are used to seeing. We know that these patterns are, you know, proven and tested, and we know that a lot of our users are familiar with them, so we use them. Okay. So patterns reduce the amount of thinking for a user. What a user has to do, they reduce the amount of thinking that a user has to do. So when they see a magnifying glass, they instantly know, okay, that's where I do my search, right? Sometimes you'll get strange things like this. So like this is a navigation for I believe it's some kind of website to look at PlayStations or whatever. And this is something that it's not the typical mental model that we're used to in regards to navigation. So this will automatically stress us out when we're trying to look up information. All we want is information. Imagine finding something like this to order food, right? You're hungry. You're like, man, I just want to get to the menu, right? And you get something like this, and it's like, it to me, this doesn't work. It'll just add stress. Okay, so that's why patterns matter. Another thing, the reason why patterns matter is they provide consistency. So, um, patterns ensure that an app feels cohesive, has a cohesive ecosystem, and not just a collection of random screens. You want it to be fluid. You want it to be like natural and feel like you're going into safe places where you can find stuff. He doesn't like have you pause and like, oh wait, am I still on the same site or am I like, did I go into a different third party site or something like that? So, it provides like these things to be, you know, cohesive, provides consistency patterns. Another thing is they're very efficient. So it helps designers design efficiently. So for designers and developers, patterns speed up the production cycle. We solve the how so we can focus on the why. So we don't have to do one-off designs. We don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. When you have patterns in your design system, you're just kind of like plugging in, these patterns, and you could prototype rapidly. You can come up with these design solutions very quickly without having to think about what you're doing. Because these patterns, again, they've been tested and proven. You've already made the decisions on what type of patterns you're going to be using in your design system. So you can concentrate on, better design. I think this is what AI is going to be doing for us. It's going to get rid of all these redundant tasks when it comes to UX, UI. We can really concentrate on solving problems. I think it's going to free us up to like really do like instead of our faces being in front of screens, really working with um, users and getting to know their emotions and understanding their needs. I think that's what's lacking in UX design right now. A lot of us will get stuck, on screen pushing pixels, so um again, this is one of the reasons why we use patterns. So before picking a pattern, Tidwell, the author of the book, reminds us that we have to understand human behavior, and that's what our first chapter is going to be about. It's understanding human behavior. What do we do um, prior that makes us want to use these apps and websites and you know uh, what makes us what are some of the behaviors that cause us to seek out these patterns. We're also going to study about the anatomy of patterns. So we're going to study what kind of pattern could be like, what is a component? So example, like a breadcrumb. Breadcrumbs are patterns. What is a breadcrumb? Everybody know what breadcrumbs are? Yes? Okay. Then we're going to study about when we should use this specific pattern. So how do we example like when the site has a deep hierarchy? What kind of navigational pattern is perfect for using uh, for a website that has a lot of links and that has like a huge menu? Okay. We're also going to study the why about patterns. What is the psychological or functional benefit of these patterns? Example to show the user where they are, breadcrumbs, like what are the benefits of those things? Does it make them feel safe? Does it allow them to get back to the original place they want to? Um, that kind of thing. Does it promote exploration within your product? Then we're going to study the hows. How do you implement it visually? Like, you know, do we use small text links at the top of the page for people to find their way back or things like that. So we're going to study all these different parts of the pattern. We're also there's like several categories of patterns. Navigation is a huge one. Um, we we like to talk about navigation uh, in a way where it's like it mimics the physical world. So like wayfinding. So when you go to an airport, right, you have all the signage, tells you what gates, those kinds of things. Um, it's the same thing. We try to pattern, the digital navigation to the physical navigation. So we'll get to learn about that. Global navigation, breadcrumbs, fat footers, they're all very similar to physical navigation. What's in the real world, right? Um, we're going to talk about layout, how we organize the screen. Okay, we're going to talk about cards, cards, liquid layouts, things like that. Um, Another category is data entry. So we we fill out forms every day, whether you like it or not. Okay. When you log into something, you're filling out a form. You're clicking into an input field and putting in information. Now, you don't know how many times you do that a day because it's like natural for us, right? It's like this natural thing that we do every day. When we comment on something, we're working in a form. That's a form, right? We're inputting something. So you're going to be surprised at how many data entry patterns that we interact with. Every time you log in and have to put in your password, that's a form, right? So data entry is a huge thing. Like I said, I love forms. It's unfortunate I'm not going to be around because Professor Woods will be teaching the forms thing. So maybe I'll I don't know, keep talking about forms. So forms what is a forgiving format? Forgiving format is like those forms that don't require like specifics. You could just type in anything. So you don't get those error messages at the end, like, God, you gotta scroll all the way back up to find the error message. I don't like those kind of forms. I like forms that kind of tell you, yes, you filled this out correctly, so you don't have to like go back and. Imagine going to a doctor's office. Imagine these like old folks that have to, your mom or your dad have to go to the doctor's office. And then they hand them an iPad, right? They're like, fill out this form. And it's like, oh my God, it's like endless scrolling just to fill it out. And then they hit click submit and then they have to scroll all the way back up. And then they go check their blood pressure. And it's like, your blood pressure is really high, sir. It's like, because you gave me that stupid form. It's like stresses you out, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So there's a lot of work to be done in forms. Auto completion, input heads, we're gonna learn all about those kind of things. So that's the end of why we're gonna study patterns. So like I said, there's gonna be a lot of things that we're gonna find, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that's what it's called. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that, interact with this every day. So there's gonna be a lot of aha moments um, in this class. Uh, okay, what else?